intense, analytical. You're completely dialed in. The weight is massive, the effort is absolute, and your pulling muscles are firing perfectly. Then, long before your back actually fatigues, your fingers peel open. The grip slips. This is the biomechanical bottleneck. The absolute maximum power of your entire upper body is strictly capped by the weakest link in your kinetic chain. Engineering a massive back is functionally useless if your hands cannot sustain the weight. This weakness follows you out of the gym. Throw on a standard t-shirt, and your forearms are usually the only muscle group left completely exposed. Biologically, the lower arm is highly resistant to growth. Unlike your biceps or triceps, which expand easily under tension, the forearm is stubborn. That resistance creates a glaring visual disparity. You end up with highly developed upper arms that abruptly taper down into disproportionately slim wrists. Ignoring this area leaves you with a dual failure, a hard functional cap on your physical power and a clear aesthetic mismatch. This cross-section of the wrist reveals the biological reality. At the base of the joint, there is almost zero muscle tissue. It is entirely bone and tendon. This creates a fixed foundation dictated purely by genetics. You cannot grow your radius or ulna. To bypass this limit, you must engineer deliberate layers of mass around the bone, artificially thickening the joint's perimeter. Passive gripping during regular workouts won't accomplish this. You have to systematically attack the distinct layers of lower arm tissue. Since you cannot alter your skeletal baseline, forcing true forearm mass requires hyper-targeting the exact muscular layers that dictate its outer dimensions. The first protocol targets structural thickness on the upper forearm using the reverse curl. You grip the bar tightly with an overhand grip, aggressively curl the weight upward, and crucially, control the slow negative phase on the way back down. Looking at this muscle map of the arm in profile, you can see how turning the wrists over effectively switches off the biceps and forces the entire load onto the brachioradialis. Subjecting that specific upper muscle to intense dynamic stretching is the primary driver for building the visual illusion of a significantly thicker arm. From dynamic lifting, we move to static holds, isometric endurance. Imagine trying to violently crush an unstable, twisting fabric while fighting the constant heavy downward pull of gravity. Hanging from a towel induces physiological panic. The unstable surface forces maximum muscle fiber recruitment, causing your central nervous system to shake violently as it fights to stabilize your weight. Forcing your nervous system to survive that extreme static tension is exactly what eliminates your grip slippage during heavy back days. The final protocol secures deep structural integrity. We call it intrinsic microactivation, and it involves plunging your hands into a bucket of rice. The thick grains create unpredictable, shifting resistance in every direction. This violently engages the tiny flexors and extensors buried deep in the hand, muscles that heavy, static metal bars miss completely. Fortifying those micromuscles creates a foundational web of strength. It's the hidden support system required for massive, unbreakable gripping power. When the forearm is subjected to the combined stress of dynamic stretching, static holds, and microactivation, the body is forced to reinforce the limb's structural integrity. New muscle fibers are packed into the gaps around the wrist, expanding the cross-sectional area of the lower arm. This new tissue creates a higher metabolic demand for oxygenated blood. To keep up, the body expands its vascular network, while the thickening muscle bellies physically compress these veins against the surface of the skin. This process turns the forearm into a dense, vascular sheath of muscle capable of supporting the body's full pulling power. Return to that heavy pull-up from the beginning, but apply this newly engineered baseline. The hand no longer peels open. It operates like a mechanical vise, absolutely refusing to yield or slip under maximum load. Removing the failure point at the wrist allows the massive muscle groups in the back and shoulders to exert their maximum force without interruption. By deliberately hacking the mechanical limits of your forearms, you resolve the aesthetic mismatch and permanently enable the full power of your entire kinetic chain.